When it comes to flying, certain names come to mind. Icarus, Da Vinci, Tom Cruise in Top Gun, and of course, the American Wright brothers, credited with the world's first successful flight in 1903 with a motorized aircraft over a windswept beach in North Carolina. But more than 1,000 years before that, there was a Berber Andalusian Muslim named Ibn Firnas who jumped off a cliff in Yemen with a bamboo frame, silk and bird feathers and became the first man to fly. And yes, this is a known fact, not some cute myth. He has a crater on the moon named after him, and the world of aviation was just one realm he delved into. He soared over many more. Abu al-Qasim Abbas ibn Firnas ibn Wardas al-Takurini, a name that if used frequently will take us beyond iftar time and well into Taraweeh, was best known as Abbas ibn Firnas. He was born in the 9th century, in the year 810, in a place known as Izna Ronda al-Andalus, or present-day Ronda in Spain. He was of ethnic North African Berber descent, and his name is derived from the word Firnas, a common name in Morocco and Algeria today. Little is known about his childhood, but it is said that he was extremely inquisitive and loved opening things up and putting them back together. A kid who loved using his hands, and not for his iPhone and TikTok account. He loved being outdoors and was enthusiastic about participating in community events. He lived most of his adult life in the city of Cordoba, located within the Greater Emirate of Cordoba, that covers part of modern-day Gibraltar, Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. At the time, the city was the richest and most influential in Al-Andalus, a major learning hub across the Islamic world at the time, revered as one of the two major cultural centers of Islamic art and science, alongside Baghdad. Ibn Firnas became a jack of all trades. He received an extensive education in many disciplines, including medicine and astrology, but was more inclined towards engineering and developing his own inventions. He was also a classical music lover and engrossed in Arabic poetry. With all this intrigue in life, he became a polymath, an inventor, engineer, aviator, physician, Arabic poet, and Andalusian musician, lauded by his compatriots as the Hakim of Al-Andalus. Now let's start with how he achieved what he is most renowned for: flying. In 875, and at the age of nearly 70 years old, he built his own flying machine out of a bamboo frame covered with silk cloth that had actual eagle feathers sewn to it. He jumped off a cliff in the Jabal al-Ras hills in Yemen to showcase his invention. What a madman! Man said 70 years old and eagle feathers. As per witness accounts, he achieved a flight of 10 minutes by flapping his wings up and down. But the problem was that he hadn't quite worked out the landing and hit the ground hard, leading to serious injuries. He lived for another 12 years despite the fall and continued to study aeronautics to figure out the shortcomings of his landing. He concluded that apart from wings, a tail was necessary to act as a rudder to control flight. He also left designs for many new flying machines, even though he was not able to ever demonstrate a flight again. Now, before we discuss the legacy and inspiration he left behind, it's worth noting what else he achieved in his lifetime. His study of astronomy led him to design a mechanized planetarium that had revolving planets moving in relation to each other. His experiment with crystals, quartz, and sand led him to create transparent glass and laid the foundation for the famous Andalusian water glasses still on sale today. He wasn't done with glass though. He studied its magnifying properties, designing lenses for correcting eyesight. That's right, the lenses you are using right now. He designed a water clock, known as al-Muqatta, for keeping track of time, which is understandable because he did so much, man probably didn't have enough time. He also wrote many books on mathematics, physics, astronomy, and engineering that were taught in the University of Al-Andalus. In 1979, the Working Group for Planetary Systems recognized his work and named a crater on the moon in his honor. Baghdad, Iraq named Ibn Firnas Airport after him, and there is a bridge over the Guadalquivir River in Cordoba also bearing his name. His work on aeronautics inspired the likes of Da Vinci. The relationship he found between wings and the tail helped the Wright brothers fly. But two things have stood out to me beyond his genius. The first was his love for music, that drove him to become one of the first teachers in Cordoba's famous school of music, run by one of his idols, the Iraqi musician Ziryeb. So yeah, vibes are always important, even for a genius. The second, and most important, is that despite the absence of an autobiography, and though little is known about his personal life, one thing's for sure: the man was persistent. He fell during his flight and got seriously injured. Imagine falling from a cliff at 70. That's serious. His life slowed down, but he still managed to live until a ripe old age, dying in 887. For those last 12 years, he didn't give up. He didn't feel like he had done enough. Instead, he moved away from the physical stuff, to writing things down on paper, to improving his work and leaving behind an abundance of brilliance for others to benefit from. And so if you've made it until the end of the video, be like Ibn Firnas. Take a risk, try to fly, and even if you fall, get up. Don't give up and keep on going. Ramadan Kareem.